Hello there, humble game developer of classic hit capstone game DinoPack. I have an important question for you. Have you ever wanted to dynamically adjust materials during gameplay for various cool gameplay effects? Like, for example, showing a visual effect based on whether or not an object is hovering over something? You have? Very good, very good. Well, to enable this, I have created a system that I call the Dynamic Material Manager that will help with just this purpose. The goal right now is for people to be able to dynamically edit materials during gameplay without having to go through me or technical designer so that we can have tiny little visual adjustments as much as we need. So it all wraps into this Dynamic Material Manager class. I'm showing you the blueprint, but you won't have to mess with anything here. The gist of it is what you want to know is during gameplay, you can set the parameter values in a material instance dynamically, right? So this means, for example, in the master material, we have like the metallic value in the master material, and you can when you change the number here, you can change it here. What we can do is we can set this number during gameplay. So again, with the example, I'm actually changing the metallic value of this blockout material during gameplay right here. Um, so the way that this works is this component goes ahead and attaches to any given object. For example, I have the in-world UI blueprint right here. Any blueprint that has this component on it should be all set to go with having dynamic materials in it. So inside the Dynamic Material Manager, you'll see under the default section, there are all of these parameters. First of all, ignore this material instance one. Don't put anything here. The component will actually automatically fill this out at the start of gameplay. What you will want to pay attention to are these four data arrays. So each of these arrays is a list of elements that go into a material parameter, right? So for example, I have in this array under base data, the parameter name, which is metallic value, and the type. I have two types currently supported, float and or float slash scalar and color slash vector. I can add more as we need, but these seemed like the most important. And then a scalar or a color value. So that's very good. Um, all that you have to do is for each material parameter you want to edit, you can just fill in this array with additional values. So for example, if I wanted to change the intensity of the light, I know it probably won't work too well, but because it doesn't have emissive color, but obviously if I did want to change it, I could go over here in the new index, type in the word intensity, and then make sure the type is the same, so it's scalar, and then I can change the scalar value to any number I want to have an increased intensity on the light. The way, so yeah, that's pretty cool. And again, you can do vector values too, actually. So I could put in emissive color. Something to note as I'm typing in emissive color is that it is type and case sensitive. This name needs to be exactly the same as this name. If there's any spaces, they have to be there. If there's capitals, they have to be there. It's got to be exactly the same for the material manager to be able to run the set parameter value. Great. So again, I can do emissive color, and then I can set it to vector, and then I can set it to a vector color like this red. And now it would set it to red, I do believe. Great. So the last thing you want to keep in mind here is that, actually I'm going to undo what I just did, but there are, in the material component, or the material manager component, I have three sets of these data arrays: base data, hover data, and interact data. This is me going over what I think are the important states, right? So for example, in World UI, when I update the dynamic material manager, I update it based on a state. So for example, when I have ended cursor over on the material or on the UI, it sets it to the base, which is obviously for us, it's just setting the metallic value back to 0. Hover, I have on most objects when you hover over something. So for the UI, it's when you hover your mouse over, right? Like I think the money is an example. So I hover over and it sets it to that color, and then I can click it and it sets it to another color, as that is the interact. That is this one over here. So there's 3 different states, and each of those is covered under base, hover, and interact. The difference between each, since not everything is you click on it, you hover over it, quite the same, right? Since a lot of these are drag and drop elements, right? This is not when you're mousing over the Dino pen, it's when you're mousing over the Dino pen that it plays the hover. So keep that in mind as you are putting things together. But yeah, all you should have to do now as a developer is go ahead and edit the dynamic material manager component and set these values whenever you want to change something, and it should automatically update in game based on that information, right? So now you should be able to go ahead and edit the dynamic material changes without having to go through me. Let me know if you have any questions about this. I hope you enjoyed this Epic Gamer tutorial. Have a good one.